that, or I've seen mobility programs that call for as little as 5 to 10 minutes a day. What do you guys think about sort of those metrics, those parameters? Is that a way to achieve, progression, operating at something that minuscule? Because that's the shit that nobody wants to do, myself included.
For sure. So, I've definitely taken like the brute force 1,000 rep method, which a lot of people want to avoid. So it's neat that there's something.
Is it like 1,000 rep method?
Maybe being sarcastic there, maybe not.
Listen, man, I respect the comma, man. You hitting 1,000?
Not these days,
okay.
But I've been there.
Shit.
No, but it is good to have like some bite-sized pieces, especially if that gets people going. But it makes me think of an idea that I would hand off to Ryan of doing exactly what it takes to get the desired adaptation outcome, like just enough. Like do as little as possible to get the most.
Sure. Optimize the fuck out of it.
Yeah. Not go overboard at all, so that the frequency at which you can make those progressions is greater and greater, right? If you overdo it, the rest period is going to be longer, so the frequency is less, which means the net outcome will be less.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's really no easy cookie cutter answer to that question. Like what? However, I'll throw it out there anyways, just to challenge y'all's ideology. What would be that minimum amount of time or that minimum amount of frequency that maybe one has to invest in? Say getting to a better upper body posture where you're pulling your shoulders back, standing up a little bit taller, neck is sitting in a little bit more of a straight line position.
Yeah.
Because, I could think of a lot of stuff. Obviously, foam rolling, lacrosse ball work is a way to kind of, get the body in a more pliable state. And then, lat work and thoracic mobility. Again, how much time would y'all dedicate to a situation like that, and how many days a week?
Well, this is an interesting question, and it constantly piques my curiosity to go here. What I'm going to say is not going to be too much of a takeaway, but more of a kind of revelation on how abstract this question is, and then how individualized the answer is. So you're basically asking what does it take to maintain the adaptation? Not only adapt, but maintain the adaptation.
Right. How do I keep it? How do I get better? And how do I make sure it doesn't go away?
Exactly. And so from the foundation, you have to, let's say we're talking about, going from rounded shoulders where we're a little bit more dominant on the front delts. So it's pulling the shoulders forward, and you get this rounding at the top of your neck. And we're trying to go into a depressive and retracted state where the chest is nice and exposed, the shoulders are down and back. The person is wearing themselves on their chest. So to go from A to B, it inevitably takes experience. You need to spend time on the other side of the spectrum, right? If you're in this trap, front delt, rounded shoulder state, and you're trying to go into this shoulders back, retracted and depressed state, you inevitably need to spend a decent amount of time there. But what does it take to get the proteins and the genes to switch their configurations so that you start to actually grow in a different direction so that you maintain and progress the adaptation? That's a whole nother question. I say it's more towards the individual. It's kind of like how fast can one learn? How fast can one learn a new skill? And we all do that at a different pace.
Right.
So I think that answer comes more along the lines of how well do you, quote unquote, know yourself? How well do you know how to learn something new? And then to convince your system, your neurological system, that this is more conducive for the body than our previous conceived thoughts.
So you almost have to convince yourself intuitively that this is the better way.
Yeah,
in order for that way to be accepted.
There definitely needs to be some sort of submission within yourself, and a new dominating bigger dogma or thought that's going to take over that previous space for sure. You need to understand that you were operating in a specific direction, and now you're operating in the other direction. There is the time when the gene goes from upregulating to downregulating, or downregulating to upregulating. What makes that difference? That's a tough question, but this is kind of where we're getting at.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where the caveman, like, 1,000 rep approach comes in, right? You're like, well, if I start running, I'll be able to run more and run more and run more. And, like, that's true, right? The body basically says, well, it'd be better just to, like, make positive adaptations to the heart and lungs and, like, grow more blood vessels so that
I can support this load and more
so
load.
it doesn't suck when the body puts me through this.
Travis,
but you know, we've also seen people overdo so many things, right? How many people, whether it's, you know, running, we're doing our, you know, our CrossFit, ninja, weightlifting, contact sport, doesn't have to be contact sport, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow. How we can do something casual and it happens, right? And you can miss the adaptation. So, like, you overdo it and miss the adaptation, right? It can happen.
Man.
Yeah. So, like, guidance is key, right? The questions you're asking are difficult to answer.
Yeah, well, like I said before,
the thing is, given the prototype, you can reverse engineer